back to the channel. My name is Lissa and I am the soap chef on this channel where we make all things with a rather good lather. In today's video we are going to be making a rice water mild shampoo, but before we do that I thought I would take you on a quick little tour of Creation Station. I just did a redesign, reorganizing. I do a deep clean like twice a year, so I just got done doing that. I uploaded a couple of pictures the other day, but I thought I would take you guys on a tour just so you can see where it is that formulations happen. So give me a second to get the phone off of the tripod and I'll take you around. Okay, let's start with, this is when I enter the facility here. This is, this is the front door right behind me. And so this is what I see when I first enter. So over here is just a table with some bric-a-brac kind of thing, some candle, sage to smudge in case people online get froggy and I need to cleanse. Here's my Cricut or Cricut, however you say it, that I've literally never used. Never ever. I've had it for 3 years. Anyways, and this is where I sit every day, and this is where I do my intros. It's a little on the messy side, excuse that. And then over here, you're gonna see Creation Station. So let's start over here with the table, obviously, and this is where all the magic happens, where all the formulations happen. I've got my light rings. I always keep my canisters covered until I'm ready, and then I pull that off just to prevent dust. My stick blenders are always sealed in bags over here. After I sanitize them, I just stick them in the bags. Yes, this is a fireplace right in back. I don't use it, obviously. Underneath, we've just got all of our excess oils and our lye over there. More ring lights. There's a picture of my mother and father-in-law. They're both deceased. All right, that's Creation Station. That's where the magic happens right there. This is where I film. And then coming over here is where all of the ingredients are. So I've got just a couple bath bomb molds in these trays. I've got, I think at this point, I've got 28 trays of bath bomb molds in the other room. I'm not taking you in there. It's too long of a walk and we're sticking with Creation Station. Anyway, so here we go. So we've got some of our esters, Chamomile SC, our Crothics to thicken things, our aloe. We've got some powders and starches and arrowroot, Natrasorb, kaolin clays, cream of tartars, and our tapioca starches. Here's some bath bomb making supplies. Here's all the bath bomb making supplies on the top as well. Over here is the surfactants. We've got the liquids on the bottom. We've got the powders on the top, or the middle. And then we've got our master batches, what's left. I usually do 12 master batches, so that's what's left. As well as, this is part of my master batching citric and my butters. Those are just my powders. All right, and so then we're moving on to our emulsifiers and conditioners with our cetyl alcohols, our stearic, BTMS 25 and 50. Hair conditioner flakes. Again, we've got our PEG 150 distearates, our Olivem, our lotion pros, glycerol stearates. Here's our silicones, stearic acid, myristic acids. Here's all of our humectants on the bottom. Over here is colorants, lakes, and then these are all micas. We've got some oxides on the top. Over here we've got our lip glosses with our lip colorants. All of our actives are up on the top here, including some squalane. It's not an active, but it's up there. A whole tub full of preservatives. Here are my testing strips and my pH meter, my citric acid buffer, my TEA. We've got our panthenols over here with citramonium chloride, the CTAC. Here's some jojoba beads, our MSM, DMSO, magnesium flakes. We've got some D-limonene back there, menthol crystals and camphor. Some overflow of colorant here. I've got more lakes, liquid soap colorants, some more lakes. And down on the bottom, we've got our waxes, all of our waxes. And then we've also got our polyamides and our zinc retinolates. So that's that. Here's my big bins that sorry, my finger just got in the way. All of my powdered surfactants, my citric and my baking soda. These are all for my, when I'm doing bath bombs. Over on this rack, we've got all of the masks, gloves, hair coverings, arm coverings, things like that. And then I've just got some, those are just for decoration, some bath bombs in there. This is just all my small little dishes that I use, dishes and cups, small little dishes and cups, spoons, little whisks, my alcohols, things like that. Of course, I've got a dehumidifier that I run 24/7. It's off right now because I'm filming. And then the last couple things here are just a couple of racks with some miscellaneous. These are for soaping. All those containers are for soaping. Some miscellaneous tools up here. Thermometer. All of my goggles are up here. I've got some BHT and some tetrasodium there. I've got my hot plate electric warmer and my pan. And then I've got some beeswax and some overflow tetrasodium and BHT down there. Over here, I've got a couple bags. That's all that I have left right now. 50-pound bags of some citric. These are all my formulas. And then that leads us back over to my desk where I talk to you guys every day. Okay, now that you guys have had the tour, let's go make some. So wow, really great editing skills, Soap Chef. I cut off the whole name of what it is we're going to be making today, even though I did say it in the beginning. Let's go over to Creation Station and make some shampoo. Okay, that's what we're doing today. It's going to be like a mild shampoo, although we are using SLES, which a lot of people consider to be a little bit on the harsher side. It gets a bad rap. It's a wonderful, wonderful surfactant. Anyways, let me go over a couple of the components. We actually kind of need 8 different components to make a shampoo, right? So you need your water. In here, I have got some chamomile infused water because I want this to be gentle and mild. So this is going to be a rice water and chamomile mild shampoo. So I went ahead and made my tea water and just let that steep for roughly, this is fresh too. Let me, hold on. So it's at 118. So I let this steep for about 40 minutes actually. So we're good to go to start mixing everything. But the 8 components that you need to make a shampoo are obviously your water. You're going to need a primary surfactant, and that is the largest portion of the surfactant phase of your formula. And these are usually anionic. You're going to need a secondary or a co-surfactant. That's a smaller percentage of your overall surfactant portion of your formula, and those are usually non-ionic. Then you're going to want a foam booster or a stabilizer, okay? And so with that, so think of your amphoteric, those are amphoteric, so think of your cocamidopropylbutane, right? So one thing that I see a lot of formulators do is they mix everything all together. You know, they just start dumping and mixing and dumping and mixing. And one thing that you should know about putting together a liquid formulation for shampoo is to not add your cocamidopropylbutane until after you've mixed all the rest of your water portion and your phase B surfactant portion. Mix all that up first, then you add your amphoteric foam booster, and you're going to see the viscosity change a little bit. If it doesn't, you can always add some salt to change that, depending on what surfactants that you've used. Some surfactants just won't thicken using salts. However, we're going to be using Crothics at the end if we need to do that. So there's a little little tidbit for you guys, a little tip. Don't add your Cocoa B with the rest of your surfactants. Leave that off to the side until phase A, your water, phase B, your surfactants are all in here, and you've already mixed those around slowly. You don't want to use a whisk either. Just use a spoon or a spatula. You don't want to kick up bubbles, right? So those are 4 components. Then you want to put in some modifiers into your shampoo, okay? So those are going to include your gums, your alcohols, your PEG esters. Your 6th component that you want to add, of course, is going to be your preservative. You have to have that. There's water, you need a preservative. Then you're going to want a pH adjuster, depending on what your pH is in the end. We are going to be testing ours with my handy dandy pH meter. So you're going to need a pH adjuster, either up or down. So you're going to need your citric acid or your TEA solution. Some people do the lye solution. And then you're going to need some miscellaneous items in there. So those are going to include your humectants, your fatty acid esters, your polymers, some rinse-off aids, any UV stabilizers that you may want to use if you're using colorants, pearlizing agents, your antioxidants, and of course, any colorants you may or may want to use, may or may not want to use, and then your fragrances. So those are the 8 components that you should always be looking to when you're formulating a liquid shampoo. Also, start to learn about your ASMs, guys, when you're formulating liquid shampoos. Your ASMs are your active surfactant matters. Every surfactant has an ASM value attached to it, a percentage. For instance, cocamidopropyl betaine has a 30% active surfactant matter, meaning 30% of that product is the actual surfactant and the rest is water. So 30% surfactant, 70% water. When you are formulating like shampoos, face cleansers, body washes, bubble bath, like even your intimate cleansers, like your Yanni cleansers, which I don't do because personally I don't believe in that. Our, down south region has its own cleansing unit within itself. That's a whole nother story. Anyways, when you are formulating all those different type of products, each one of those has its own ASM that you should try to stay within, in order to have appropriate guidelines for the shampoo. For instance, if we're doing shampoos, which we're doing today, you should try to stay within a 10 to 15% ASM. I'm going to have all of this in a Word document this time because I just formulated this and wrote this all out actually last night while I was sitting in my living room watching a Big Brother rerun. Anywho, so that's enough information about the components that you should be looking for. Start to learn your ASM. I've got a link to the calculator that does it for you when you're starting to formulate, because you don't just willy-nilly throw things in, and hope that it's going to come out. You want to find the ASM value for each one of your surfactants. You want to plug that in, like to the calculator. If you're going to use the calculator, you're going to plug that ASM into the calculator. Then you're going to plug in how much of that surfactant you want to use in your formula. And it calculates everything for you. It calculates each individual ingredient, what the ASM is, and then it combines all of your surfactants and gives you a total on the bottom of your ASM. And remember, we want to stay below 15% when we're formulating a liquid shampoo. Okay. Clear as mud? Let's get going. All right, so in here, again, we've got our chamomile tea water, okay? I've already measured it out. It's exactly the right amount. Next, we're going to be adding in our beautiful rice water because it's a rice water and chamomile shampoo. And I made that myself. You guys can make it yourself. You can buy it if you want to. I'm pretty sure the Formulator Sample Shop has it, Lotion Crafter, as well as Making Cosmetics. Just check up on those sites. I know I've seen it, but sometimes those 3 sites get jumbled because those are mainly where I go to get my cosmeceuticals. All right, so far we've got our water portion. You don't have to do chamomile. You could do lavender, you could do rose, you could do hibiscus. Keep in mind with hibiscus, the water turns a little bit gray after you start adding everything else. All right, so remember, this is our water portion. Now we want to add in our vitamin B5, which is our panthenol. Next, we're going to be adding in some sodium lactate, but before we add it in here, we're going to make a slurry with our guarcat. So let's put that aside. This is our sodium lactate. This is our guarcat. We're going to mix them and make a slurry. Try not to make a mess here. Did you guys enjoy the tour of Creation Station? It just flows better now. I had it the other way around. When I showed you guys the wall where I have, which is now behind me, you know, that has my rack that's got my gloves and my masks and hair nets and all that other kind of stuff. The table used to be on that side, and then all of my ring lights would be up against the wall. And then I had all of that stuff here in front of me. And it just, I don't know, it didn't flow right. I didn't care for it. So it was time to do the deep dive clean, which I do twice a year. So I thought, well, while I'm doing this, let's pull everything out, and we're just going to reorganize and redesign this whole thing. If you guys don't want to use sodium lactate, which I think is absolutely fantastic in hair products, it's definitely underrated. But if you guys don't want to use that, go ahead and use your glycerin. Make your slurry with that. This guarcat is extremely silky. It makes the hair products really, really silky. Sometimes it's called guar silk. Make sure you stir this good, your slurry that you're making, until you don't have any more clumps left. Even though my water is slightly warm now, which I'm sure the temperature has dropped even more since we put the rice water in, because the rice water was very cold. Oh yeah, we're at 97, so it's dropped considerably. But even though, you know, it's slightly warm, if there's chunks in here, it's not gonna break that up. We don't want chunks in our product. So smush it around, smush it up against the sides, make sure that you're not having any clumps, and then go ahead and add that into the pool. Did I confuse the heck out of you guys with the ASM stuff? I hope not. If you're gonna formulate from scratch, you know, rather than buying bases, learn how to do it, you know, from the start the right way. I didn't learn how to do this the right way from the start 23 years ago. I just learned this stuff recently. And while I am glad that I learned it, period, you know, I wish I would have known all that kind of stuff when I was making liquid shampoos before. Get off of there. Just wants to stick on my spatula. All right, let's give this a stir. Because the next thing we're going to be adding is my own homemade Lame Soft, because I refuse to buy a product because ingredients are expensive, y'all. You know it. I refuse to buy something if I already have those type of ingredients on hand, so I made my own. And my own, I mean, it's not exactly like Lame Soft, but it's going to provide the same properties. So it's 60% of cocoa glucoside combined with 40% glycerol oleate. I made my own. If you have those products on hand, those ingredients rather, make your own, you guys. Don't spend money if you don't have to. So that's going to be a very, very nice emollient for the shampoo. So let's go ahead and get that into the pool. Let's get that mixed in. Again, you don't want to use a whisk, you guys. Now, we haven't put really any surfactants in here yet, but we're going to. You want to give it a really, really good stir because a lot of these ingredients now are going to start getting pretty thick. And because I want to make sure that I have every little bit of the ingredients, I don't want to leave any inside of these containers. I'll just go ahead and take the main batch, pour some into my little container here that had my Lame Soft, and give it a little bit of a mix so that I know I'm getting every last little bit. Once again, expensive, man. Ingredients are expensive. All right, this is your water phase, okay? We're done with the water phase. Remember what I said about the surfactant phase. You want to add your surfactants, your primary surfactant and your co-surfactant, and that's it. And then you want to stir, 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 and make sure that everybody's combined real well. Then you want to add your amphoteric, your foam booster and stabilizer, after you've done phase A and phase B. Don't just dump all your surfactants in there. And you'll see the viscosity will change to varying degrees depending on what surfactants you are using in your formula. So I already did all the math on my surfactants. We're going to be using SLES, lauryl glucoside, and then once we get that all mixed in, we're going to add in our Cocoa B. So I've already done all of the math, remember, so that I know what the ASM is on each one of these individually. But then I also know what the ASM is for the total batch so that I could stay within the 15% range. So, you know, staying within those appropriate guidelines. This is where you don't want to use your whisk. You just want to get in here with your spoon. If you are finding that your mix has cooled down too much and then you haven't, you're not able to really blend in your thicker surfactants, go ahead and pop this in a water bath. I'm probably going to have to do that because this has cooled down significantly. Yeah, we're at 92 now. So I am going to go and pop this in a water bath. Go ahead and get some of this in here. Because as you can see, that's not going to be breaking up anytime soon, but it will once I stick it in that water bath. The SLES is very, very thick. Very thick. All right, you guys, give me a moment. I'm going to go stick this in a water bath. I'll be right back. Okay, putting it in that water bath helped to kind of break up and dissolve that SLES because that is a very thick surfactant. So that did the trick. There's no more little lumpy clumpies. So the next thing we want to do is add our lauryl glucoside. And that's also quite thick. Not like the SLES though. This will disperse rather nicely. Again, we don't want to use a whisk. You can already see the viscosity is changing. It's getting thicker. Can you guys see that? Look at the color on this too, by the way, from that chamomile. I am not adding any water-soluble liquid dyes to this. I'm leaving this color just the way that it is because I think it's beautiful. Just want to try to get all the rest of this lauryl glucoside, which is a wonderful refatting agent as well as a co-surfactant. This is coming together very nice. Loving the thickness already, and we haven't even added the amphoteric surfactant yet. Again, you may or may not see the viscosity change once you add your foam booster. Depends on the surfactants that you're choosing to use in your formula. But this is beautiful so far. Look at that, that's gorgeous. All right, so we've got our phase A, water. We've got our phase B, surfactants. Well, let's go ahead and add our cocamidopropyl betaine. Remember also when you are blending in your phase A and phase B, your water phase with your surfactant phase, to stir slowly. Now I'm going a little bit faster, and I can already see it absolutely has thickened up. Can you guys see that? How this is thickened up? It's not even completely mixed through, but I can see it and I can feel it. So the proof is in the pudding, you guys. All those years that we've been doing it wrong, just dump piling all of our surfactants in. Look at this. I can feel this as I'm stirring in the bottom. I can absolutely feel how thick that's gotten. But that's why research and development is so very important. It's also important to get it from reliable sources and not just, you know, Google it in. This is very nice, this viscosity. I'm probably going to wind up thickening it up, however. We are going to test the pH now. All right, so let's go ahead and get a little bit in our container here. We're going to check the pH on this and we'll adjust it accordingly. Okay, so that's quite high, and that's because of the surfactants that I used. You guys see that? So what we need to do is get our buffer, our citric acid buffer. All right, you just do drop by drop, you guys. Between 4.5 and 5.5 is what we're aiming for. And it's continuing to change. And we're at about 5.04, and I'm happy with that. Really important to check the pH, you guys. You saw how high it was, and we had to bring it down quite a bit. All right, so let me go ahead and adjust the pH of the rest of this off camera. Bring it back in a minute. Okay, now that we have the pH adjusted in the entire batch, I'm sure you guys can notice that beautiful, beautiful golden color is now gone. And that's what happens when you add citric acid, you know what I mean? It does affect the color of things, but we have the correct pH now, and that's more important. All right, let's start adding in phase D, okay? A was water, B was surfactants, C was your amphoteric surfactant, which thickened that up some. And of course, this did thin out just a little bit because of the citric acid, but that's okay. I'm going to thicken it up in the end anyhow. All right, next in the pool, we're going to be adding some cetrimonium chloride, CTAC. That's really great for frizzies, flyaways, anti-static. After each addition, stir. Again, trying not to kick up bubbles. So far, so good. All right, after that, we're going to be putting in our hydrolyzed rice protein. Rice is so good for you in many different ways. I just uploaded a pretty lengthy descriptive or informative educational information with more rice. I did a small one several weeks ago when we started our series, but I did an extended version last night, and that is over on Patreon if you guys wanted to go and check that out. All right, after our rice protein comes our lovely keratin. Okay, that's pretty good. Now we have some liquid Germale Plus into the pool. That's our preservative. And I'm going to pour some of the mix in there to get all the rest of that out as soon as I give this a good mix. Lastly is going to be our fragrance, and I am using a fragrance called Shampoo, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a Paul Mitchell dupe, I'm pretty sure. It smells really great. Just scraping the bottom here to make sure I get all of that Germale. We want every bit of that. Okay, and lastly, we are going to go ahead and add that beautiful fragrance, the Shampoo. The last liquid soap that I made, the liquid shampoo rather, I used awapui. I made my own blend of awapui. Man, oh man, does that smell nice. My granddaughter can't keep her hands off of it. Every time I have her, she's like, Nona, I want to go shopping. And so she goes in the back room, in the product room. She goes shopping. Now, if you guys can see, this is thinned out considerably because of all the additives. And that's why I am going to thicken it using our liquid Crothics. Again, you can use salt if you would like to. But again, some surfactants will thicken using salt. The majority, unfortunately, will not. Before I do that, though, I do believe I am going to. Now that beautiful golden color, I didn't realize how blonde this was going to get after I did the citric acid buffer. I think I am going to add just a little bit of liquid colorant. Hold, please. All right, so in here, I've got some liquid dye, some yellow, water-soluble liquid dye. I make my own, and it's preserved. There's 7 drops. That's my lucky number. I don't want it to be, you know, in your face yellow. Oh, that looks nice though. That's golden. Yeah, I kind of like that. Just make sure you give this a really good stir because of the dye, you know what I mean? Make sure you're getting all of it down in there. Look down on the sides of your bowl. Gotta take a smell. Sorry, have to. Yum. Okay, and the very last thing we're gonna do, you guys are gonna thicken this up. You want to start off small with the Crothics, you know what I mean? You don't want to go bananas because then you're going to have paste on your hands. Okay, I like to start off at 2% and work my way up from there. All right, let's do this. By the way, this does not count as a portion of your formula. This is entirely separate. So don't be alarmed that, you know, I'm going over 100%. Your thickeners aren't really ever considered a part of your formula. Okay, so that's real thin still, so let's keep going. Okay, you guys, I am back and I've got this to the thickness that I like, which is lovely. The usage rate on Crothics, you can go up to 8%. So let's go ahead and get this into a bottle. I'll go ahead and pour it into just one of my bottles. And then we'll do a little test on it. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. Sure. In a perfect world, I would have brought my funnel over here before I started filming. That would have been nice. This is like watching water boil. All right, we're getting to the top now, so we'll slow down just a bitty bit. Alrighty, that's that. This is going to go home with me. I'm going to give this to my granddaughter because she's almost out. She literally just got shampoo from me, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago. She's almost out. How much do you wash your hair, child? All right, let's get that out of the way. Gloves off. Let's do a little test on this sucker and see how it lathers. First of all, let's check out this viscosity. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Not too thick, not too thin. That's fantastic. And look at the bubbles, y'all. Make pretend that this is your hair. And I can already feel how luxurious these surfactants, the combination of this, it's so soft. Also, don't forget, we've got that guar cat in here. But you guys, look at these bubbles, okay? Look at this. I mean, I didn't really put all that much on that poof, but look at this. That is fantastic lather. So if you make this and you sell it, your consumers are gonna go out of their freaking bonkers with all of this foam. Look at it, look. Part of that, to be completely frank, is that SLES. It's just such a huge lather component, you know what I mean? Like, look at this. That's fantastic. I didn't really put that much, you guys. I would put more than that in my hands to wash my hair, but clearly you don't need to. Look at this. That's fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. My granddaughter's going to lose her mind. Okay. This was a very long process and a very long video. I'm going to do some heavy editing on this sucker. Probably going to cut out lots. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy that. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of information on the Word document that I put together on everything that I talked about, with the 8 different components that you need to make a shampoo and the ASM percentages that you need to stay within for, you know, appropriate guidelines when you're making, you know, any type of cleanser, really. And then all the different ingredients we used, how to thicken it up at the end, how to check your pH before you start adding all your, because we want to check the pH of the surfactants, right? And so, you know, we have to do that right after you put everything together. Then check your pH. Okay, so then you can start adding all the rest of your additives and stuff. But man, has this been a journey, you guys, and I'm thrilled. Thrilled. Look at this. This is fantastic. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe if you haven't, share the video with your friends. You can comment down below, or you can join me and everybody else over there on Patreon to get this recipe in full. It's going to be in Word document format this time, not PDF, because I just don't have the time. I'm leaving in 2 days to go on vacation. Woohoo! Finally, my gosh, we never took a summer vacation, but we're going to go out west to Elk Country once again. And I am meeting the lovely Becky, who is also a maker in this industry. So looking very much forward to that. Okay, that's going to do it for today, you guys, though. All right, be kind and stay humble. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you soon.